Donald Trump's friends and really stooges at the Fox propaganda network are still really struggling to deal with, respond to, and cope with Donald Trump's historically bad debate performance on Tuesday night. They are doing everything they can to lie on his behalf and pretend that it was the moderators who were the reason Donald Trump performed so poorly, and not just his unraveling brain and Kamala Harris's incredible job prosecuting the case against Donald Trump. And chief among those MAGA stooges on Fox is Jesse Waters, who is absolutely shut down and silenced by the great Jessica Tarlov. And we are going to check that out. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you end up enjoying it, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And it's not just Jesse who is struggling with the devastation of Donald Trump. So is Sean Hannity, who days after this debate is trying to cope with it by calling out Kamala Harris's lies. And believe me, they're not lies, but let's check out that clip.
Or have I? She also lied and brought out the hits. Let's bring up Charlottesville. She lied about Trump's role in January 6th, lied about fracking, lied about oil, lied about her support for the Minnesota Bail Fund, lied about Trump's bloodbath comments on the economy, lied about Trump's position on NATO, lied about zero troops serving in combat zones, lied about Trump's role in the Biden-Harris administration and their disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. How do you blame Donald Trump for that? Lied about gun confiscation. She said it repeatedly. Lied about her support for defunding the police. She said that too. She even lied about being a middle-class kid. In reality, she grew up in one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in Montreal, two very affluent parents. She lied about violent crime along with her two supporters at the debate that were masquerading as journalists.
It's really funny to me that the most damning attacks that Kamala Harris made and that MAGA is trying to call lies were the times that she just used Trump's words against him. Bringing up Charlottesville, Trump saying that there were very fine people on both sides, and Hannity claiming that that was debunked, even though they're just Donald Trump's own words. There's really nothing that MAGA can point out that Kamala Harris did wrong or said inaccurately during that debate, so they're just coming up with things and trying to cope. But they clearly cannot, and especially when there is an incredible truth teller by them in the form of Jessica Tarlov, who, like I said, shut down the MAGA lies on the 5 in such a great way that I just want to check out this full clip.
They had to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on lawyers because you guys were arresting him and prosecuting him on BS charges. If that money was better spent, then this would probably be a 49-state landslide victory, which I'm not predicting at all, because I learned my lesson with the red wave.
I knew it. Jessica, you know, Kamala's numbers now are lower than Hillary's were in 2016 and lower than Biden's were in 2020. And you still think, you know, that
that we're underdogs,
fantasy,
but we could win?
Yeah.
Sure. We're underdogs that could win. To Jesse's point about the lawfare, I don't think that the voters are happy that Donald Trump is using their campaign contributions to fund his legal team.
I don't know about that. I think the voters, the voters recognize that it's the weaponization that Merrick Garland said it wasn't. But go ahead.
All the grand juries we whizzed up in.
Honey, I've been in charge of grand juries. I know grand juries.
I know grand juries. I've dated grand juries. Okay. We're not underestimating anything. It's the same thing, and I don't think that you can see any evidence of it in how we're approaching the mechanics of the election or even how cautious Kamala Harris is being. If she thought that this was a slam dunk situation, she'd be going absolutely everywhere and laughing in everyone's face and saying, oh, you think people are going to vote for that buffoon? That guy who says, I have concepts of plans, that guy who it gets so mad because she mentioned people leaving his rallies that he spent the next hour and 15 minutes with smoke coming out of his head. That's what you would be doing if we were arrogant about this. Nothing is being taken for granted. And to the point about the Michigan undecided voters or the lack of undecided voters, there were a number of focus groups after the debate. Washington Post had 24 people, 22 of them said Kamala Harris was the one who won the debate. CNN had similar margins, and we had a snap poll from CNN, a snap poll from here at Fox with huge margins for her winning. Does that translate to Kamala Harris is going to be the next president? I don't know. but it means she had a very good night.
I love this response from Jessica. Confident, not too cocky. We're not focused on the polls. We still want to be underdogs. We are going to fight every single day in this race. We are going to keep our heads down. We are going to continue to work no matter what, because we have a vision for the future. That is what we're focused on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until the election. And of course, Jessica shutting down the lies about lawfare that Donald Trump tried to bring up during the debate, and clearly Jesse did as an excuse for why Donald Trump did so poorly, because he committed crimes and that's Kamala Harris's fault. Again, I don't know. They're really trying to make up any excuse for Donald Trump when in fact maybe he shouldn't have just been pushing conspiracies about immigrants eating cats and dogs during the debate, which was one of the most shocking moments of the entire Trump experience during this campaign, and was rightfully called out by someone who also does a great job crushing Fox, and that's Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who ripped into Donald Trump. And I just want to check out that full clip right here.
But I do want to take a step back. I think it's important that all of us take a step back here and just lean on the facts here. The Springfield, Ohio Police Department has debunked this very bizarre and very hateful smear that's out there. It is what is happening here is an attempt to tear apart communities and disrespect. Let's not forget also disrespecting law enforcement. And that is the opposite of what our country deserves. It is undignified and an insult to all of us as Americans, not just one community, but to all of us as Americans. And it is spreading filth that makes the lives of the communities that are being smeared here, it puts their lives in danger. And it is just hate speech. That's what it is. And some of the news organizations here have reported that some Haitian American, Haitian immigrants are fearing for their safety right now because of a result of conspiracy theory. This is what this is.
It may seem like it was a complete mistake for Donald Trump to bring up this disgraceful attack. And of course, it seems like it's him playing to his base as he always does. But I've heard some great points brought up on why Donald Trump might have decided he wanted to spew these disgusting conspiracies during that debate. And the most interesting among them was that he knew he couldn't defend his record, and he knew he couldn't land an attack on Kamala Harris. And so he decided to try to distract us all with this horrible and weird and, of course, xenophobic and racist talking point, this disgusting conspiracy theory, to try to distract from his failures. But of course, we are going to continue to call out his failures. But it's interesting that the strategy of the Trump campaign is to replace bad with more bad, but weird and new. And that seems to be what they're doing. We've talked so much on the show about how they are unable to message. And if Donald Trump's idea of messaging going forward is to say that people are eating dogs and cats and worry about geese, yeah, I got some bad news for you and some great news for us. It's going to be a long rest of the campaign for you. A campaign that we are ready to turn the page on, as Kamala Harris said during a great speech at a rally right here.
On Tuesday night, I talked about issues that I know matter to the families across America, like bringing down the cost of living, investing in America's small businesses, protecting reproductive freedom, and keeping our nation safe and secure. But that's not what we heard from Donald Trump. Instead, and I called it at the beginning of the debate, it was the same old show. Same old tired playbook we've heard for years, with no plan for how he would address the needs of the American people. Well, folks, look, it's time to turn the page.
I always love it when Tim Wolf says this. I find it so perfect, and it really resonates with me as a person who is always paying attention to Donald Trump for my job. It's tough sometimes, but of course we got to bring the news and we got to call it out. But don't we want to live in a world where we don't have to hear his voice every day, where we don't have to see that orange cakey makeup, where we don't have to be divided, because we are not divided as a country. Donald Trump divides us. And don't we want to unite? Isn't that a better future? Don't we want to have a Thanksgiving or a family holiday without the crazy MAGA uncle talking about what Trump said? I sure do. And I want to move forward. And we're moving forward with Kamala Harris. And we're going to be doing that and talking about that every single day on this show. And if you want to support us, as always, you can leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and drop a blue heart in the comments. I read some really touching comments today. Y'all are so incredibly supportive. It really means a lot to me. It really does. I always love reading through those. And until next time, I'll see you soon.